Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever it is for you. For me, it is just past midnight on Saturday, October 18th, which makes this the news and events for Friday, October 17th, day 1332 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. How do you do? I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the Live at 5, coming to you from this major European capital, currently under siege. Hey, Russell. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Herb. Bobby, how you doing, buddy? I was thinking about you today. I'm trying to make plans for a trip home to the U.S. next summer. And part of that will be getting to Southern California and cleaning up my shit. Hey, Durs. Well, I'm feeling a little better, Herb, thanks. Durs says something interesting. You don't get enough credit on this app. And Durs, I gotta tell you, I am a self-sabotager. I really am. If you read through comments on my videos, you will notice there is no Russian propaganda, at least none that doesn't go unaddressed, right? I literally read every comment, and every troll that I can identify, I block. I will not let this platform be a platform where Russian propagandists use my content to spread their filthy lies and put money in their pockets. I won't do it. And that, of course, thwarts engagement ratios and thwarts the algorithm and means that I grow at a much slower pace than maybe somebody else who engaged in all of that. So I don't do it. You know, somebody comes on talking about how, the reason that this war started is because the Ukro-Nazis were bombing Russian-speaking people in Mariupol. This is a lie. This is a demonstrable lie. And we get it all the time, right? So when I see that kind of shit, I shut it right down. I will not let these people make money off me. No fucking way. You can take your 5 rubles and go fuck yourself, is my whole thing. But I appreciate your sentiment. Thanks. Hey, Feisty. Hey, Travis. How you doing? I was thinking about you today, too. Starve the trolls, Nightshade. Exactly. Starve the trolls. Hey, Van. How you living, brother? I'm feeling a lot better today, Marius. Thank you very much. Do I sound better? Good. I'm angry again, right, Roy? I'm angry again. Boy, I got to tell you, yesterday I was sick as a dog, and maybe it was because I was sick. I was in such a positive frame of mind. But really, yesterday, it just seemed like it was an avalanche of good news, right? And there was so much good news, it really, it got me on to do the live last night and share all that good news with you. And now today, we're back into the grind, boy, and Putin is back up to his tricks. And I think that it is obvious because, to the best of my knowledge, right, Zelensky and Trump met today, and there is no announcement about Tomahawks, right? I haven't seen one. Have you seen one? The Kyiv Post just reported that Zelensky is talking to reporters right now, even as we are here. Zelensky is talking to reporters in Washington. But to the best of my knowledge, no decision was made about Tomahawks. Why do we think that is? Right? Valley Guy is confirming it. Eli is confirming it. Why do we think that is? I'll tell you why it is. Because Putin is back up to his old tricks. And the call that he had yesterday with Trump, in Trump's summary truth social post about it, you can see how the master manipulator KGB agent strokes Trump's ego to get his way. It's not impossible, Roy. He's got that cryptocurrency. Foreign powers can dump unlimited sums of money into that cryptocurrency to buy the president of the United States. It's a sin. Well, at the very least, it should be a crime. So, in his Truth Social post, right, what did Trump say they talked about? Vladimir Putin congratulated me on bringing peace to the Middle East, something no one else could do. Centuries of people have tried, but only Trump could do it. And Vladimir congratulated me. This fucking moron. He hasn't brought peace to the Middle East. He has a ceasefire. And these bastards violate ceasefires every fucking day. It's not gonna last. It's a joke. So he praised him on that. Then he praised the First Lady for her work with returning Ukrainian children. Really? 8 kids? You returned 8 kids and you stole over 20,000? You kidnapped, ripped from their families. Is it 300 Designology? Am I wrong on that? I thought it was 8. Maybe the first group was 8 and there were subsequent ones. I was only aware of 8. Designology, I think, is saying that it's 300. Regardless, it's a drop in the bucket compared to the crime that has been committed by the Russians against the Ukrainian people. What else did he say? Oh, they got on the subject of Tomahawks. Trump joked with Vlad. Would you mind if I gave your opposition a couple thousand Tomahawks? So then Vlad pulls out the reason he made the call. Donald, Tomahawks will only ruin possibility of Russia-US business deals. Why you want to do this? So we can see an immediate shift in the kind of bellicose language that Trump had been using before this call to immediately afterwards where Trump says, oh, Tomahawks are really good weapons. We need them for ourselves, and we don't have that many. All of a sudden is the new language coming out of the White House. More importantly, we have this Trump-Putin meeting in Budapest, which is a slap in the face to the Ukrainians, where the original Budapest memoranda was signed. And of course, the failure of the United States to live up to its word in that memoranda. So there's that slap in the face. Then there's all the benefits that derive to Orban, Trump's favorite, not the Minsk agreement, Stuart, the Budapest memoranda from 94. Minsk 1 and 2 came after the invasion of Crimea in 2014, 2015. Right? Why did we need a Minsk 2? Why did we need a Minsk 1? We needed a Minsk 1 because Russia broke the Budapest memoranda in 2014. So we needed a Minsk 1 agreement. Why did we need a Minsk 2 in 2015? Because Russia violated the Minsk 1 agreement from 2014. Anybody who thinks that Russia's not going to wipe their ass with whatever piece of paper you sign is not paying attention, to history. So Hungary and Orban are like the golden boy right now. He's getting everything he wants. He's getting this vision on the world stage of himself as a neutral third-party peacemaker. This is nonsense of the worst sort. Viktor Orban and his playbook for how to undermine democratic institutions and make yourself a dictator is exactly the playbook that Donald Trump is using in the United States. Sorry, 1 second. I just have to show Mr. Smith to the door here for his nonsense. Okay. It's exactly the playbook that Orban used in Hungary. Orban, who has sworn to prevent Ukraine's ascension into the EU, is an independent, neutral third party who can host these peace negotiations? Give me a fucking break. He is a creature of the Kremlin, a wannabe despot, an anti-democratic authoritarian who is in Putin's pocket. Literally. Now, Germany, for its part, is having none of it. And of course, Europe itself is kind of incensed over this. Europe itself is looking at this and saying, what the fuck is Hungary doing? Now, Germany is saying, look, Hungary, we're going to remind you, you're still in the ICC. If Putin sets foot on Hungarian territory, you are required to arrest him. I want to know how Putin's going to get there. I want to know how whose airspace? Are the Poles going to let him fly through their airspace to get to Hungary? The Slovaks will, right? The new Czech government would. Would the Germans? On a Tomahawk. Wouldn't that be nice? He's not flying over the Black Sea, I guarantee you that. Turkey might let him fly through their airspace, but then what? He's going to go through Bulgaria? Is Bulgaria going to let him go through? I don't know. Germany said Putin could go safely. Well, Friedrich Merz today warned that Hungary has an obligation to arrest him. So I don't know how safe that is. So I don't know. We will see. We will see if this even ever materializes. Or if, in fact, what it likely is just exactly the delay tactic that Putin wants so that the fall offensives can continue. And the fall offensives are underway. The Russians are pushing forward in Kupiansk. Yesterday we had good news, right, that the Ukrainians were fighting in Oletsky, Oletsivka in Sumy. And now today we have word that the Russians have pushed the Ukrainians back out of Oletsivka. And we have word that the Russians have pushed forward in Volchansk again. But when we look at the territory of control, the official statistics for Russian control over Ukraine, it's still 15% less than they controlled in May of 2022. And it's down 0.14% from September. They gained 6.5 square kilometers in the last week for a total of 19.06% of Ukraine. No real change to the percentage control. So the whole thing with Putin interjecting himself into the conversation yesterday and setting up this meeting with Trump, this supposed hypothetical sometime in the future meeting with Trump in Budapest, appears to just be a delay tactic. Trump's bellicose comments have immediately cooled. And following the Trump-Zelensky meeting, we still have no word on Tomahawks. But I can tell you what the lunch menu was. That the two dined on arugula and rosemary aioli over a pan-roasted chicken with sweet potato hash, crispy artichokes, and fennel. When was the last time I gave you a menu? It was the Putin Kim Jong-un meeting. Because again, what they talked about, we never found out, right? And that appears to be what's coming out of this meeting too. We have the lunch menu. Stuart is back here again. Well, let's just show him to the door again. We have the lunch menu, but we don't have any promises of weapons. Zelensky, for his part, focused everything as good business, telling Trump, you give us Tomahawks, we give you drones, everybody wins. And of course, the United States needs Ukrainian drone technology. It's the best technology in the world. And the greatest army on earth needs to get its ass up to date because war and the nature of war has changed. We have seen that. Oh, thanks, Richard. And the expertise, Courtney, you are right. We need the technology and the expertise, the learnings. Now, on this subject, a lot of people have been asking about the North Korean troops. What's going on with the North Korean troops? And I didn't have an update on the North Korean. I went looking for an update today. And wouldn't you know it, I found it. Just yesterday, the Ukrainian SBU released a report on North Korean troop activity, but they did not say where. I thought that this was very, very interesting because, normally all of these intelligence updates from the Ukrainian armed forces, normally they tell us where it happens. Talking about the North Koreans, they haven't. Now, the reason why I think that that's important is because North Koreans on Ukrainian soil, that's a political message. That is an escalation of the North Korean involvement in this war. As Courtney says, they're usually in Kursk, right? Yes, they're usually on Russian soil because the narrative from the Kremlin is that we brought these troops in from North Korea solely to defend ourselves from the Ukrainian threat on our soil. That's very different from saying we're using North Koreans to invade Ukraine, to invade another sovereign nation. In the eyes of the world, that is a different thing. And I'm very curious as to why today's report did not mention where the North Koreans were operating from. Very curious, and I don't have a good explanation. However, what the report did tell us is that the North Koreans have learned. When they came to Ukraine over a year ago, they didn't know shit about drone warfare. They didn't know to expect them in the field. They didn't know how to respond to them. They didn't know shit about drone warfare. Now they're flying the drones. According to this report, North Korean soldiery are now currently working on the ground in direct tactical communication with their Russian counterparts, right? Not relaying messages through generals. No. Direct, daily, on the ground, talking to counterparts to adjust Russian artillery fire, which would indicate that the North Koreans are in a forward position, right? Because they can see the targets and see where the artillery is coming in, and then direct the artillery to adjust itself. Or they are flying drones. And again, we don't know where they're flying the drones from or where these forward positions are that they're correcting artillery for. Now, the Ukrainians are still fighting in Tedkinos, a lot of bad fighting up there in Kursk. South of Glishkovo in Kursk, there's a Ukrainian presence. And of course, on the state borderline north of Sumy. The Russians have been pushed back to the border and are fighting with the Ukrainians on the border there. And in fact, there's now a Ukrainian incursion into Kursk, a new one south of Glushkovo. The North Koreans could be working in all those places and still be on Russian territory. But we don't know where they are. Hang on, there's an interesting question here. Let's go back. I'm feeling better, Twisted Sister. I'm still running a fever. I'm still not great, but Lee Hunt says, can you answer this for me? Ukraine can copy most rockets. Why can't they copy the Tomahawks? Well, Lee, I don't really think that that's true, that they can copy most rockets. I don't think that they've done that. I think that most of the missiles that Ukraine has produced are, in fact, not traditional ballistic missiles or even traditional cruise missiles, but are, in fact, missile drone hybrids. The Flamingo is about the most simple rocket you could imagine. And not only is it one of the most simple rockets you could imagine, similar to a VX rocket from World War II, it also appears to be a clone of a British-designed rocket that, like you said, they just copied. And again, it's one of the most simple kinds of things you could have. As I understand these things, I don't know what kind of technology is in a U.S.-made Tomahawk, but from what I understand, it's a whole nother world compared to these kind of primitive flamingos that the Ukrainians have developed. So we'll see what happens with those flamingos. Is there copyright problems? Bernard, I have no idea. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what you do about that kind of thing. I guess you go to the international courts or whatever, right? I don't know. This is Ukraine. They're not big on copyright law here. Let me tell you, they torrent everything, these people. It's really like, I mean, I know a guy, he's not a friend, let me assure you. He has movie nights where he just puts a CD in, projects it on the wall, and charges people to come in. I mean, you want to talk about copyright infringement, or I guess that's intellectual property theft, I guess. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know that he said that, Clive. Trump said he won't give Zelensky. Clive is saying that Trump said he won't give Zelensky Tomahawks because it might escalate the war. He mentioned that as a concern. So unless that quote is new, like within the last 30 minutes, I don't believe that that's exactly accurate. I think he's putting people off. He's delaying. Nanopam, that's the big problem with flamingos, is that they are not stealthy in any way. Now, there's a distinction I can point to between the Tomahawks and the flamingos right off the bat. While the Tomahawks aren't stealthy per se, they have avoidance and detection capabilities that the flamingos don't have in any way. One of the problems with the flamingos, as I understand it, is that they are easily tracked on radar, easy to intercept and shoot down because they have a large radar cross-section and are subsonic. Now, in their second combat mission, as I understand it, 2/3 of the flamingos were shot down. Only 1 out of 3 got through to the target. And that one that got through to the target only got through to the target because the Ukrainians did something to hack or confuse the targeting systems of the Russians so that suddenly all these ghost images appeared on their radar screens. And I don't remember the details of what they did, but they did something clever. And all these radar, suddenly instead of 3 targets coming in, there were 300. And they couldn't tell which one was the real. It took them a minute to figure out which one was the real one and which one wasn't. And then they still got 2 out of 3. The balloons, that happened over Moscow, Valley Guy. Maybe Twisted Sister, I don't know. It is too bad. And I think that's why Ukraine wants the Tomahawk so bad. You send a bunch of flamingos with a Tomahawk or 2. Something's going to get through. With some drones, you can overwhelm air defense. Is what I believe to be the case. Okay. Now, so yesterday, the Russians shot down one of their own planes again. Well, that's great news, Lee. I like it. An Su-34, another fighter bomber of the Russian Federation, has been taken out by friendly fire. And this happened during a large drone incursion over Crimea yesterday. And one of the targets, now dig this, it's not even the first time, Scully. I mean, this goes on. This must be the 12th fighter jet, at least the 12th in this war, that the Russians have shot down themselves. Let's not forget, they've also shot down an Azeri civilian passenger plane. They've shot down 2 crop dusters that they thought were drones over Russian territory. They've shot down their own helicopters. These incidents of friendly fire are a common ongoing problem for a panicked, trigger-happy Russian Air Defense Corps, whose training leaves quite a bit to be desired. Now, the plane got shot down during an attack on the Hvardiska oil depot in Crimea. Now, we've been talking a lot about the effective destruction of the Feodosia oil terminal, the main marine oil terminal and distribution hub for refined oil products into Crimea. Well, this oil depot, the Hvardiska, is the second largest in Crimea, and it is now on fire too. So you want to talk about destroying Russia's ability to live in Crimea. The Ukrainians are doing everything that they can to make Crimea unlivable for the Russians. Just like the Russians have been pounding energy infrastructure in Ukraine, the Ukrainians are now pounding energy infrastructure in Crimea. 2 large transformer substations in the Sevastopol and Saki regions are also burning today, and power is out across the region. There's going to be more of that. There's going to be more of that. There's going to be more of that inside Crimea, inside the temporarily occupied territories, and I believe inside Russia this winter, if Russia doesn't stop hitting Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Just last night in Poltava, the Russians hit all of the natural gas facilities and took them out. This is a problem. This is going to be a problem. Ukraine has suffered so many hits on its natural gas infrastructure that before last night's strikes, the country was looking at buying 2 billion euros worth of natural gas to get through the winter from the external market. Now it looks like they're going to have to buy even more. All of that is a concern for the Ukrainians. Now, in Pokrovsk, in the Dobropila sector particularly, Ukraine is making some claims about Russian losses since August 21st. So we all remember that August 24th, we had this big Russian breakthrough around Pokrovsk. Russians pushed 16 kilometers, about 9 miles, behind Ukrainian lines. The Ukrainians swept in and they cut those forces off at the knees, separating them from the main body of Russian troops, encircling them and putting them in the cauldron. According to the Ukrainians, from August 21st until today, in that Dobropilla direction, the Russians have lost 8,402 men, KIA. Another 5,419 wounded in action. Another 124 taken as POWs. The Ukrainians have liberated 182 square kilometers, destroyed 1,289, almost 1,300 pieces of equipment, including 32 tanks, 101 armored personnel carriers, 154 artillery pieces, and 435 light vehicles, civilian cars, and motorcycles. The Russians are really taking it on the chin. Putin keeps trying to delay, right? Like he did with this call yesterday to Trump. He keeps trying to delay so that he can grab more land. But all that's happening is they are losing territory and men. As they push harder and harder, they're just throwing these guys into the meat grinder. And the guys are increasingly, according to Ukrainian reports, the guys are increasingly inexperienced and untrained. Now, finally, tonight, we want to talk a little bit about the Baltic states, because the Baltics have really been ramping up their active defenses against Russian incursions. We know that all of the Baltic states have withdrawn from the Ottawa Convention on anti-personnel landmines. So they took themselves out of the Treaty of Ottawa, and they are mining the shit out of their borders with Belarus and Russia. They're putting up tank traps, defensive barriers, concertina wire, razor wire, etc. Now, since the incursion by those Russian jets into Estonian airspace, Russian rhetoric around the Baltics has really ramped up. The Russian press are no longer referring to the Baltic states by their names, by their sovereign nation names, but they're referring to them by their old Soviet territorial names, dismissive of the current capitals. Courtney says Latvia is taking care of business. Courtney, that is what inspired this whole bit right now, because Latvia is expelling 814 Russian immigrants who cannot pass a Latvian language test. So Latvia has passed new laws, as have Estonia and Lithuania. Russians can no longer own property there. If you're a Russian citizen, you can't buy property in Latvia. If you're a Russian citizen immigrating to Latvia, you must learn the Latvian language and prove that you know it in a test. If you can't demonstrate that you can speak Latvian, your ass is out of here. And they are getting ready to expel 814 Russians for failing these exams. These are no longer just, call in the Russian ambassador so that we can lambaste him. These are no longer protest steps. These are now active efforts to protect themselves from the same lies that the Russians told about the invasion of Ukraine. We're there to save the Russian-speaking people. We're there to save the Russians that are there. Give me a fucking break. Most of the Russians and Russian-speaking people that live in the Baltics were deported there by the Soviets in order to set up this kind of bullshit, this casus belli, an excuse for invasion. And the people in the Baltics are having none of it. They are now actively taking measures to protect themselves from such lies. Bada, 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 bada. I should mention, right? So the Baltics are actively moving to eliminate weaknesses. Latvian expulsions, MiG incursions, and Moscow rhetoric undermining sovereignty of the Baltics. They have moved from protests to action. Now, part of this, I think it's worth mentioning. Did you guys see the video of that Russian verbally assaulting? He didn't physically assault them. It was a Russian-speaking person on a train in Switzerland who overheard the family, a mother, father, and their young children speaking Ukrainian and began threatening their lives. Like not even a joke, right? Like just hearing Ukrainian spoken. And he wanted to murder them. He told them that he would kill them all. And what he meant there when he said that, he meant all Ukrainians. That man, the Swiss have arrested him. I don't know if he's being charged or what he's being charged with, but he is under arrest in Switzerland. And I gotta tell you, man, the way that he reacted to Ukrainian is it's how I react to Russian. I have to tell you, I hear some asshole talking about how great Russia is. I'm insane. Yeah, he was arrested, Paul. But what I do not do is threaten to murder children on a train. Jesus Christ. The shit coming out of this fucker's mouth. Thank God the Swiss were there. The police were there. The Swiss police were there. That guy is a Lithuanian citizen. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see. He was on vacation, and the nerve of him demanding to see their Swiss passports, demanding to be told, oh yeah, Roy, there's video everywhere. Just go to YouTube and search for, Russian threatens Ukrainian family on a train. Something like that. I'm going to be very interested to see when this guy tries to return to Lithuania, what the Lithuanians do with him. Very, very, very interested to see that. Actually, there's some kid on YouTube I have to apologize to, actually. He's just, I was very rude to him in the comments because he was talking about Russian 7-string guitars, and it was late at night and I was a jerk. Okay, anyway. Guys, that's it for my top-of-line news stories today. What I know about, I don't know about anything at Avangard. Somebody asked about what happened at Avangard. I don't know. Avangard is a defense contractor plant inside of Russia. Oh, Little Red is saying that there was an explosion there. Lars, that's what I told him. I told him to stop playing Russian guitar and take up Spanish guitar. And the son of a bitch made a rebuttal video to me where he pointed out that his guitar was in fact made in Ukraine. And that was fucking cool, actually. That was very cool of him. There were 2 refineries hit last night, Roy Daniels. Sorry I didn't mention it. Saratov got double tapped, right? We talked last night about Saratov being hit 2 nights ago. But we don't think that strike was successful. So it got double tapped. Last night it got hit, and it is now burning. It's burning even while we're talking, just like Theodosia, just like Hardovitska, and like Kostovo, which was hit again last night. That's the Lukoil plant up in Nizhny. Is it Nizhny Novgorod? It's somewhere in that region. It's like 800 kilometers from Ukraine, northeast of Moscow. The Kostovo oil facility. That's the second largest, if I'm not mistaken, that's the second largest oil refinery in Russia, processing 17 million tons of crude oil a year into refined oil products. And it is currently burning. Bunch of substations too. I mentioned the two big substations in Crimea that were hit last night, and that power is out across the region. But additional substations inside Russia were also hit. So big thanks. Tonight's sponsors are my Ninja Patreon folks. And this is the first time ever that there's more than one. So I'm deeply grateful. Chris Carter, of course, has been a Ninja level Patreon supporter for about a year now. And then this month he was joined by Kiwi, who is not from New Zealand. I think he's from Canada. If I'm not mistaken, it's Canada. And our buddy Arna, who upgraded from mother level to ninja this month. Guys, thank you, sir. Hey, Papa Don. If you're not an American, you might not know Papa Don, but Papa Don is an American, like a real American, like somebody who believes in due process of law and that immigrants are our future and diversity is our strength. Like the simple things you're supposed to fucking believe if you're an American and not a Nazi. His tagline is Donald Trump is a treasonous piece of shit and a national embarrassment, or something like that. Right, Don? It's one of my favorite lines of all time. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, big thanks to our sponsors for tonight. Chris Carter, Arna, and Kiwi. Big thanks to Lars, who has the Discord server, Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces, and of course to the moderator team, best moderators on the Tickety Talk, Jay, Pete, Travis, Maddie, and Feisty. Thank you, folks. There's June, our sponsor from last night. Hey, June, how you doing, buddy? Hey, Birdie. Hey, Designology. Designology just joined the Patreon. Thank you, Designology. The October campaign is going very well. I'm deeply grateful to everybody. I really think we're going to do it. I want to say we've had 30, something like 30 people join the Patreon or upgrade their existing Patreon level. So I said 2 weeks ago tonight, I said on this thing, something I've said 100 times. Don't worry about it, Designology. You're doing your part, pal. Thank you. I said something I've said 100 times. If I could get 100 people to join the Patreon at $5 a month, it would change my life. And that never got any results before. But that night, Mick Nally jumped on the Patreon and joined up. After he busted my ass a little bit, I will say that. But that was fine. And then a couple other people did too. And then it sort of became a thing. No, you shouldn't be, Chef Deb. Why should you be? It's extremely generous. Of all the places that you could invest your money, to think that you would kick $5 a month to me is deeply humbling. But it's how I stay on the air. It's how I can be here in a country where otherwise I couldn't work, right, under the visa requirements. So this channel is the only way that I can stay here right now. I was trying, actually, Nightshade kept sending me, Nightshade, I didn't tell you this, but you know how reporting from Ukraine was looking for video editors, right? Well, they started saying that there was training involved, so I applied. There's no training. You have to know how to edit videos. And I don't have those skills. So that job is not a job for me. But I'm going to have to figure something out here. I can't do this much longer. I I don't know what I'm going to do. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I never thought I would still be here 3 years in like this. Never occurred to me. Okay. Thanks, Paul Brown. Me too. Thanks, Chef Deb. You've tried to join Patreon a number of times and haven't managed. Well, Steve-O, I'm sorry. We can't fix stupid here. It's just an application, man. It's just an app. Get the app. A Russian propagandist was killed and another seriously injured in Zaporizhia by Ukrainian drone strikes. Yay! The more the merrier. There you go. Lars is good at that stuff. He'll help you out, buddy. I know it is, David, but I just need somebody to show me. And not only that, I got to tell you, their instructions on what to do were not even very clear, I didn't think. And there was absolutely no training at all. No, I don't have any patience, Maria. And I don't know comparatives, superlatives, past perfect. I don't know any of that. You know, Nightshade, originally what I wanted to do here was a soup, like a free soup kitchen kind of thing. I make a good soup. And I thought I could source the ingredients pretty cheaply, and I had a budget. I thought I could make soup for about 500 people a day. But there was no food crisis in Kyiv. I would have had to go to the front line for that. And I want to help, but I also would like to survive this experience. So I admit I have stayed in the relatively safe bubble of Kyiv. But I'll tell you something. If we get the 100 people, if I can go from about 1,500 a month to 2,000 a month, because 100 people at $5 a month is $500, right? That's going to be what I'm thinking is it's going to be a travel budget so that I can start taking you guys to Kharkiv with me. We can start going as far east as is reasonable. Maybe go to Kherson if the commandant of Kherson would return my emails, which today they are not doing. I've repeatedly tried to apply for access to Kherson as a foreigner, and I am not getting any response from them. Mykolaiv, there are things happening down there. There's so much going on in this country, and I would like to get out of Kyiv and show it to you. And so that is going to be my goal. If we can get to the 100 new Patreon supporters, I'll be able to do it. Thanks, Cody. No soup for you. Ukro soup Nazi. Nightshade, I like that. Yeah, and I'm a native speaker, Maria, but there's a lot of bullshit when you have to teach the language. I tried it, and I might be able to speak it, but I'm not very good at it. Nightshade thinks I'm not good at teaching it. Nightshade thinks I should open a chicken wing shack in honor of why I came to Kyiv. I'm not going into the restaurant business ever again. I was in the restaurant business in my 20s and early 30s, and I could not take those hours anymore. I couldn't do it, pal. Weren't you the guy that got trapped in Ukraine? No, I did not get trapped. Unless by trapped you mean I found here a purpose-driven life, the likes of which I had not had since my son was small. You know, when the kids are small and every waking moment is dedicated to keeping them alive, you have a real purpose, you know, to make sure that this human makes it past the age of 5. That was the last time that I felt real purpose-driven life. And for 3 years almost now, it hasn't stopped. Hey, Gary. Hey, Chris. Hey, Feisty. Hey, Jan. Patreon is free. Anybody can join the Patreon for free. There is no barrier to my content on Patreon. And then there's different levels of membership from $5 up. And right now I'm asking for 100 people to join at $5 a month. Hide. The paid memberships start at $5, but I would like you to join anyway, right? Like if you don't have $5, or if you just want to try it out for a while, see if it's worth it, get a free membership. Oh yeah, J-Boy. Thanks, Flying Sunbeams. Maria Holm. There is a link in the bio, yes. Maria Holm. With all due respect, you're not wrong. Making food is easy. Creating a meal is not. Night, Nana Pam. Hey, Killack. There's a Patreon guy. Okay. So what do we got? It's 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Again, big thanks to our sponsors tonight, Chris Carter, Arna, and Kiwi, who is not from New Zealand. I was very surprised to find out. Enjoy, Anthony. And dealing with the public is a nightmare. I agree. Oh, yeah, Chef Deb, right? And a professional kitchen is hard. Oh, I got a buddy does food photography, Seawolf. And you will never believe this, he's in Connecticut. Wait, are they still in Connecticut? No, they're in Massachusetts now. Honestly, I'm not sure where they are now. I've sort of lost touch with them. Buddy of mine from college. Roy Daniels, were you married to my ex-wife? With the right book it is. I love a reader, Maria. Love a reader. Designology, the right people always make the hard things look easy. That's what professionalism is. Oh, that's a great thing, Little Red, to point out. Tomorrow is no King's Day in the United States. I really wish I could be there with everybody that's going. If you are going, please be careful. I am deeply concerned that there are elements in the United States that want to turn tomorrow bloody. Be situationally aware. Plan your exit routes. Watch the crowd. Do not let yourself get boxed in or led down a dead-end street by a bunch of thugs with batons and shields. Make sure you can get away and remain situationally aware. And with a little bit of luck, everything will be fine. So be careful. Ben, nobody gets to explain my monogram until you sponsor a live. By following the link in PayPal and sponsoring a live, you get the secret decoder ring to my monogram. That's how that works. If violence breaks out, sit down. Do not resist, Chef Deb. Go limp. Milwaukee should be safe. I'm sure they thought that at Kent State. Arna, I do love the way that the guys in Portland are handling it. They're demonstrating the absurdity of it. And when you watch those sadistic sons of bitches laughing and pointing from the roof as they fire pepper balls into unicorns and frogs and dragons and giraffes, it really highlights the kind of vicious, sadistic nature of these unhinged bastards who should realize that they do not enjoy qualified immunity from criminal prosecution when this thing is over. If the fascists lose in the United States, when it's over, they're going to be on trial. They're going to be the ones headed to jail. I hope. I pray. Oh, I don't recommend it. I mean, you're not wrong. Right, Roy Daniels? You got a concealed carry permit. You can conceal carry tomorrow. But I think being armed is just asking for additional problem. You know, having a weapon encourages you to use it. Oh, Dawn makes a good point. Make sure you have lawyer's details and don't take your phone. Or buy a burner. How safe is Kyiv right now? It's the safest place in this country. Me too, Seawolf. It breaks my heart every day. America scares us all right now. Remember, you are under no obligation to answer any question from law enforcement. You have the right to remain silent. Trump is just a symptom of the problem. We have deep, unresolved anti-science movements, anti-reason movements, theocratic movements, our own kind of ISIS in America, anti-women thinking, violent thinking, and racist thinking, whose roots run deep into the culture of what America is versus what it aspires to be. And these people, just the same way they cherry pick the Bible, they want to cherry pick the Constitution. In my opinion. All right, guys, it's a little past 1 a.m. here, so I'm going to call it a night. I don't have any sponsors for lives next week. If anybody would like to sponsor a live and unlock your secret decoder ring to my monogram, the PayPal is in the description. Big thanks again to Chris, Carter, Arna, and Kiwi, who are the sponsors of Tonight Live, my ninja level Patreon people. And big thanks to Lars with the Discord server, Nightshade with the Peter's Peeps group, and to the best moderator team on the Tickety Talk. Thank you all so very much. Good luck tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. And up, Renvox. Time to check out. Good night, Flip. Night, Scully. See you Monday, Seawolf. Night, Altered Carbon. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Bip. Thanks, Chef Deb. Everybody, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.